Williams triple strike, a puck bowler, MPU. This is a system 6A MPU. It's overkill for triple strike because it's running, I think, system 3 ROMs and the driver board. And the driver board was pretty clean. Well, it was clean after I cleaned it up, but there was nothing actually wrong with the driver board other than the craptastic headers that Williams installed. There was a lot of cracked headers, I should say. I should not say there was nothing wrong with the driver board. There were a lot of cracked headers on this driver board. Oh, and I'll roll in a picture of the 40-pin interconnect. A couple of the pins were completely missing. But I have replaced all those headers now. I've replaced this power filter cap on the input on the MPU. I've replaced all the headers also. Power filter cap, added a blanking indication, and all these sockets for the flipper ROMs, the game ROM, and the 26810s and the 5101 have been replaced, as is the 40-pin socket for the 6808. And I've added a super cap with a current limiting resistor, 62 ohms, that will hopefully allow this super cap to retain the settings longer than it would without that resistor. This is just a 0 ohm jumper that I made to connect the cap to the 5101, between the 5101 and power and ground, etc. So we've got it booted up, and the first thing you might notice is that the displays look kind of funny, like I'm missing a digit here and 2 digits here. That is a feature of the triple strike ROMs. Since it's in a bowler, some of the displays will look a little different. And on the lamp matrix right now, there's only a few lamps that are operating, and the coils, only coil 17 is turned on. So let's put it into test, which for this game ROM, the first thing you have to do is press this lower button. So I'm going to press this switch now. And that's the same in later ROMs as having pressed the coin door button. So now I've put the auto advance in the down position, up position, and you can see we are cycling through the displays, and you can see that all these displays are being driven correctly. So once this gets back into the bowler, it'll look just fine. Lamp test. And one thing you can see here, or I noticed anyway, is that the lamp test flashes much quicker with this ROM set than it does with, say, a Gorgar ROM set. Solenoid test, on the other hand, goes slower than a regular system 3 through 7 board set might go. And that's probably because these solenoids are pulling pins up, and they want to allow the user to have time to see the pin go up. And it stops at this special solenoid number 1, which is coil 17. Now, I wonder what will happen if I ground the switch inputs like this. Let's just see if the driver board circuitry is doing what we would expect it to do. Let me let it get past that. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this driver board is universal in that it can go into not only this bowler, but also any 3 through 7 game. And it does have the 0 ohm jumpers instead of resistors in those 7 positions, as was done in System 7 games. So we're in the switch test now. All of column 1. And then let's go across the rows. And triple strike, the last switch on triple strike is switch 40. So all of our switches are working correctly. I'm going to advance on out of this and reboot the game. And we're back in business. Thank you so much for your patience as I work through this one. This is mechanical type work here. There wasn't a lot of brain work involved here. I've done so many of these. I know this board set like the back of my hand, and so it's just a matter of sitting down for a few hours and removing all the craptastic original sockets and the headers and sucking the holes dry and then putting new headers in. It takes probably 3 hours to go through a board set like this. It's just purely kind of mindless work. I also did repair the power supply, and I rolled a picture of it in at the start. It just had some components missing, or a component missing, and the capacitors on the high voltage section needed to be refreshed, and the 6A4 diodes, maybe a couple other changes. Thanks for sending it.